So first, I'm going to invite Mr. Phil Schaefer up, and he is the president of our charity foundation, and he's going to give you some updates on what's going on locally with our charity foundation.
So that's the real reason I'm up here, but it does say inspiration, so I'm supposed to inspire you guys a little bit this morning. Does anyone in the room know what tomorrow is? D-Day. And is it just any D-Day, like the 57th anniversary, the 75th? That's right. So it's kind of a special time, I think, in world history, not just American history, but in world history. So I'd like to ask if you've served in the military, if you would stand up and we can give you a round of applause if you're in the room. Thank you very much for the sacrifice that you made for our country and the freedoms that we have every day and the freedoms as realtors that we have. This is a great business that we're in. We get to help people and we get paid pretty well to help people. And that is an honor and a privilege to have a job that is flexible. If your kid needs to go to the doctor, you don't have to ask for time off. You just take them to the doctor. You can take a vacation whenever you want, assuming you can afford it, which isn't always the case in real estate, right? Anyway, it's a great business that we're in. And so I'm here to talk to you a little about giving back to that business and giving back to the community and helping people. I hope everybody in the room knows that PWR has had a charity foundation for the last 15 years. Some milestones, we've raised over $1 million during that time period, so give yourself an applause for that. The other great thing about that $1 million is we have helped a lot of families and veterans get into their first home. We have grants of $3,500 that we give away for free to people who are first-time buyers. And it is a privilege and an honor to help those people get the keys to their first home. Every single person that uses that program must work with a PWR realtor. So that means all of you guys make a commission when that happens too. So we have a few ways that we raise funds for this program. We ask you to give when we do our dues, and to be honest, we really blew it this year. We lowered the amount down, and consequently the giving went down. And so we need funds. We have 2 annual events we do, the Wine and Beer Festival in the fall, which is a lot of fun, but also the golf tournament. I have a video I want to show you right now about the golf tournament, and then I'll talk to you for a minute more. Jay's pressing a clicker. I can see him trying to play the video. I thought there was going to be audio. Yeah, that's me. Okay, I'll just talk over the video. So the course this year, we move around to different courses every year. We're at Tustin Ranch Golf Course, which is a beautiful, beautiful golf course. It is a challenging and a fun course to play. I hope that, how many of you are golfers in the room? Be brave, raise your hands. Okay, we need every one of you guys to go online at pwr.net/golf and sign up to come play in this tournament. We have lots of space available currently for that, and we need more players. How many of you are not golfers? Most of the room, right? So what can you do if you don't play golf? We have a helicopter golf ball drop. So let me just talk to you about how this works and what the odds are. You can buy 1 ticket for $10, and you can win $1,000 bucks. So if anybody in here likes Vegas, the odds are really good because you have maybe 300-400 people that will buy a ticket. So it's way better than winning the lottery. Save your money from the lottery and support the charity foundation, because the money actually goes to helping people and goes to something good. In the back corner of the room, we have our charity foundation volunteers and a table back there, and they are happy to help you buy a golf ball. Now, if we just did some math, I think there's, how many people are in the room today, Ray? Like 400? 400? If everybody in here bought one golf ball, that would fund a family to get in the house, the $3,500. So don't sit here and think, oh, someone else will do that. $10 is nothing. You spend that at Starbucks every day. Come on. And you got free breakfast today, so you didn't have to go there. So there's your $10. Anyway, I hope that you will support the Charity Foundation, at least that way. There's other ways you can get involved, and we'd love to have you do that, but please consider supporting the Charity Foundation. We really, really need your help this year. Thank you very much.
Phil, I have an idea. We can do like at church, and we can send collection baskets down all the rows. Okay. All right. One thing I wanted to mention, I just wanted to mention all of the sponsors that are here today. So along the back of the room, we have the PWR Charity Foundation, which Phil just spoke about, Finance of America, Cutco, Reverse Mortgage Educators, CCW Permit Instruction, Dollar Signs, Loan Depot, Summit Escrow Corporation, our YPN for PWR, and Treasure Your Style. So let's give all the sponsors a big round of applause for being here. So next up, we have Tim Shaw, our Government Affairs Director. I think he's slotted for 5 minutes, and I was telling him I don't think he can do anything in just 5 minutes, so let's see if he can stick to his time frame. He's got a lot to talk about. We'll give you a little more time if you need it.
Thanks, Ray. All right, good morning. Yeah, so we'll summarize all the issues affecting real estate from the national, the state, and the local level in 5 minutes. All right. So we recently had both our National Association and State Association meetings. So back at the National Association of Realtors in Washington, D.C. just a few weeks ago, big news, the President of the United States was our guest speaker and made some news at that, so you may have seen that. But the issues we were pushing, the flood insurance program at the federal level is kind of regularly coming up to expiring, so they constantly, Congress seems to always want to only do short-term extensions, and they did another short-term extension, just buying us another few months. So what we're pushing for is hopefully eventually we get a permanent long-term solution to that. But as you know, if you don't have the flood insurance, you can't sell a home that's in a 100-year floodplain without that insurance. So it's very important, and there's a lot of homes in this country that are within a 100-year floodplain, and it would really be a disaster for our industry if we didn't have that insurance program out there. So hopefully Congress can find a way to make that a permanent fix. We continue to try to work with members of Congress and the administration on the tax reform issue. As you know, when the federal government reformed the tax code recently, one of the provisions that went in there was it capped how much you could deduct on your federal taxes, what you pay in your state and local taxes. So we call this SALT, state and local taxes. So used to be for every dollar you pay to your state, local government could be a deduction on your federal taxes. What this reform did is cap that at only $10,000. So in a high-tax state like California, a lot of people are going to hit over $10,000, and therefore they're going to lose that part of their deduction on their federal taxes. So it does disproportionately, impact us here in California. So ideally, we can get that amended as well at the national level. A lot of big stuff going on at the state level, and we had our CAR meeting not long ago. The governor of California was our keynote speaker there, and made some news as well. So he came in, and Governor Newsom reaffirmed his commitment to us to really see more housing get built in the state of California. Point of fact, in 2018, I guess in California, around 77,000 new homes were built. He wants to see that closer to, he stated to us a goal of 400,000 getting built a year. So how do we do that? How do we multiply by many times how many homes actually get built physically out there in the state of California? Well, it's interesting coming from him. He even said, you know, I'm a liberal Democrat and I want to reform CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, which is not usually the comfort space for you know, Democrats, but he says we got to look at reforming CEQA to make it that process easier. And there's been all kinds of bills floating around the legislature to basically coerce cities into allowing housing to be built. There's talk of withholding transportation money from cities, or maybe even just taking away from cities altogether the ability to say no to housing near bus stops and train stops. So that's part of that may well be part of the answer there. So a lot of stuff like that at the state level. One bill you may have been hearing about, AB 1482. Now, this was a bill authored by Assemblyman Chu that would basically have put a statewide rent control in the state. It would a rent cap. The original terms of that were quite terrible, to be honest with you. So we were working on trying to block it, ideally, and we had a red alert out. Hopefully you guys saw the red alert and responded to that. It had originally proposed only a 5%, you could only raise your rent 5% plus CPI in a year. We wanted to just kill this bill. It got real dicey whether it was going to maybe pass or not, so our state association leadership did start negotiating, and we softened the terms of the provision. It's now a 7% cap plus CPI. It also will expire now, if this bill were to pass as amended, in 2023. It had been 2030. It was going to go all the way out to 2030. We got it to expire in 2023 and terms like that. So CAR officially at the last minute announced a neutral position because the author had agreed to many of these concessions. So we're now officially neutral. The bill passed the Assembly barely. It's gone to the Senate. So we'll see what happens. So 1482, I don't think anyone is on our side thrilled with, but it did get a lot less bad than it had been. But we're mindful of that, and it's getting a lot of news out there as well. At the local level, we have endless fires we're trying to put out. The LA County Board of Supervisors is a complete disaster. They keep doing rent control and things like that in unincorporated parts of Los Angeles County. And our dear friends at the city of Long Beach seem to be even worse. They they keep passing completely ridiculous things that are administratively impossible. But the latest thing was if you were to if you are a property owner and you raise your rent 10% or more, you're now going to be required to pay relocation fees to your tenants if they don't want to pay that rent increase, and up to $4,500 the landlord will have to hand over. Isn't it awesome having politicians be generous with other people's money? I just love seeing that. It's so nice. I want to make a motion that they could pay for my kids' college. We'll see if that passes. But anyway, this is the Long Beach City Council, but not all. I want to make a public thank you and congratulations to Councilmember Daryl Supernaw, Councilmember Stacy Mungo, and Councilmember Susie Price, who voted no on all this stupidity happening there. So let's give them a round of applause. So we do have some friends there. I don't want to completely paint with a broad brush. But so on one thing I do want to plead with you guys for as our members is when we do have a big vote happening, we have these red alert call to actions. You might hear different terms, but we really need our members to call their elected officials to ask them to vote yes or vote no on whatever particular bill we have coming up. And I'm going to be, we're amongst friends here. Our association, or realtors in general up and down the state, we don't do a very good job with this. If you look at other interest groups, teachers unions or whatever interest group, boy, they get their members mobilized, and we are a little weak on that. So when we get our call to action, when you get those emails, please, please, please pick up the phone, call your assembly member, call your senator, call your congressman. It's real easy. My last job before working here, I worked for a state senator. I got these calls all the time, hi, just want to ask the senator to vote, yes on Senate Bill, 513. Okay, Just mark them down. It only takes 1 minute. It's super easy, but it's very important. I know, having worked for a state senator, right before they go up onto the floor of the Senate to vote, the staff will tell them, Senator, here's how many constituents we heard from on this bill. We had 300 people call and say vote no. Oh, wow. So this will kind of register with them at the moment they're pushing the button. So please, please, please do that. If you haven't done this before, maybe you could pull out your phone. We make it real easy to learn about these. All you have to do is text the word REALTORS to the number 30644. So you're sending a text with the words REALTORS typed in there to the number 30644. And when we have a big alert coming, you'll get that text. And of course, we'll send you emails as well. So look out for that. Another way you can help, and we do a great job on this one, is contributing to the Realtor Action Fund. We have a political account with those dollars that our members contribute to. We're able to fight issues as well as support candidates who are being friendly towards us. So we have this form over here. If you would be so kind to consider a contribution to the Realtor Action Fund, and there's different levels of giving. One cool thing, if you give $449, they give you a silver bear here. So I'm a California silver bear, but there's different levels like that you can consider giving, and we would certainly appreciate that. So with that, thank you, and enjoy your meeting.
So one thing Tim made a joke about was getting his kids' college paid for. Anybody that doesn't know Tim, he probably loses sleep every night considering college for his kids. He's got 6 boys under the age of 12. Huh? Community college, all right. All right, so we're going to get right to our speakers. Our first speaker is Nobu Hata. I'm going to read to you. This is in front of you, but I don't know if you guys have actually sat and read it, so I'm going to read you the introduction about Nobu. Nobu is currently the Director of Member Engagement at the National Association of Realtors. He's an industry veteran since 1996, and he's a student of marketing, communication trends, social media, and technology in the real estate industry, having implemented and adopted various new school techniques to a successful brick-and-mortar business in Minneapolis. An accidental speaker, instructor, and volunteer member since 2009. Let's see. He spoken for NARYPN, Communications, Equal Opportunity, Diversity, Strategic Planning Committees. Nobu brings to NAR a skill set that includes insight and context of agent, brokerage, and association issues up the pipeline, and delivers value-added information down both in person and through the digital domain. So let's give Nobu a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Y'all hear me okay? I'd like to thank you guys, first of all, for saving me from 6 consecutive days of breakfast with Mickey at Disneyland. There is such a thing, by the way, as too much Disneyland. And I reached that about 5.5 days ago. My wife all of a sudden thought that my 3-year-old is going to love Disneyland, which when asked yesterday what his favorite day about his week was the tram ride from the parking garage to the gate. So it's been a wonderful week for me out here in California because I'm broke, and thank you very much for that. Bought all the Legos too. All right, so we're going to talk about marketing here. So if I can bring my slide deck up. We good? No, we're not good. Good now? Do I do it up here? Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. Marketing. I have been in this industry since 1993, actually, before the whole internet came along in real estate. How many here remember when the MLS came in book form? Y'all remember those days? Yeah, those days aren't coming back, so let's forget about that, right? What has definitely happened in my whole adult life in this business is that really nothing has changed. Y'all realize that? Nothing has really changed. I still need realtors. I have not sold real estate in about 6 years. My wife now is a realtor in the family. I'm gonna talk about her in a second, but people still need you. Y'all realize that? Because it's not about finding homes anymore. Y'all realize that too? Because I don't need you to help me find 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. I need you to help me find the right home and then get me through the transaction and then help me after the fact when I'm ready. I'm going to tell you right now that since the advent of these iPhones in our pockets, how many of you guys have an iPhone in your pocket right now? Yeah. The information that I have at my disposal is ready for me at a moment's notice. And that is the thing that you have to take to heart, and you have to start planning around. Okay? When it comes to marketing, your job now is to tell me what it is that I don't know about the real estate transaction. I have sold hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate before my time at NAR. I just bought my second home, though, in the city of Chicago. And I said things that I would have punched myself in the face for if I was an agent. I said things like, I'm quibbling over $500. Anybody ever have a client, it's like they can't see past anything, and they're quibbling over $500 in like a maybe $600,000–700,000 million deal, and they say things like, oh, it's for the principle of the thing. I said that. The thing is, guys, I buy, as now a consumer, I buy and sell homes now so infrequently that I really don't know what it is that I should be expecting. Every time I buy and sell a home, it's the first time for me doing it. You better take to heart, guys, that if people bought and sold homes like they bought and sold groceries, this industry would have changed a long time ago, okay? But the fact that it hasn't, and that everything changes in the time between I buy and sell my home, that is where professionals come along. That's where people come into play. That's where the humanness of what you guys do becomes extremely important. The problem is that in 100 years, we still haven't figured out how to market that properly. You know what I see in real estate marketing right now? I am awesome. I am the #1 agent X in X, Y, and Z, to the point where you all say it. To the point where you all say it, and it ceases to become any meaningful to me. I don't care, because you're all saying that you're the best, that you're all saying that you're #1. Knock it off, okay? I got 45 minutes really to tell you guys that you guys need to figure things out, do one thing different in your marketing strategies right now. This is not me for an hour telling you guys how to use Facebook. If you haven't figured out how to use Facebook in this business, don't worry about it. I'm gonna say that right now, don't worry about it. You know why? Because your kids aren't on it anymore. You all realize that? Who here has kids here that have supercomputers in their pockets right now? Right? You all have kids. Have you asked your kids why they're not on Facebook? Have you asked them? Because that's where old people go to argue with each other. That's what they say. And we take these classes in real estate about how to go on Facebook and to use ads, to the point where FHA now is slapping us down because we're being stupid on Facebook. Guys, knock it off. You need to figure out one strategy over a long course of time. You need a marketing campaign that can scale and be future-proof. You need to be Facebookable. You need to be tweetable. Stop trying to use Snapchat in your business. That's where your kids are running to because they're hiding from us old people, guys. And if you're on it right now trying to figure it out, all you're doing is weirding out 12-year-olds, man, okay? It's going to be okay. Your goal is to be Snapchatable, Facebookable, and tweetable because that's future-proof, that's scalable. That's what good marketing is. We're going to talk about these fundamentals today, right? But I'm going to urge you to do, guys, is to do something. Do something different. There are 13,000 real estate people just in this association, not including the 10,000 north and south of here, right? I have a choice now in this business to help me buy and sell a home. And your job now is to attract my business. Your job now is to show off what real estate is, and that's a premium way to do business. You have to do that. I would have told you a couple years ago that you had some time. You don't anymore. The market's stabilizing, folks. The market is stabilizing. The last 4 years in this business have been an aberration. If you're a new agent here in this business and you thought the last couple years have been great, don't get used to it. Things are settling. We have to get back to the old school ways of doing things. Get people offline into this real world starting right now. These are the fundamentals that we need to start thinking about more than anything. If you could put the slide deck back up, please. These fundamentals up here, and you can just leave the slide deck on the projector, please. The fundamentals of marketing now are this, guys. Life is mobile. Ain't no one uses a desktop or laptop computer anymore, okay? I've got in my pocket a supercomputer that I can access the world's knowledge, okay? That's what I've got. Your job now is to distinguish yourself from that. 2, marketing better be useful. Your marketing has to be useful for me. I can pick it up and I can run with it. Because every other marketing piece that's out there, folks, by all the disruptors that are out there, are highly usable. I should be able to pick it up and learn something from it, have that aha moment, something that makes me want to go, oh my God, I want more and I want it from you. Brands are human. If there's one thing that I would urge realtors to do in their marketing is to stop talking like realtors. Stop it. I have no idea what equity means. I have no idea what appreciation rates mean because they've been overused, folks. When you say things like, I'm number one, that doesn't mean anything. Saturation of sameness now is a thing. On top of that, stand for something. You know what was really important in the 5 minutes that before I came up here was your whole charity thing and your political stuff that you guys are doing right now. That is way more important than anything else you'll ever get into. Y'all realize that? That's what makes realtors realtors. I can't do that as a non-realtor. Go and give to charity and use that in your marketing. Stand up for something when it comes to property rights starting right now, guys. Almost 70% of people of any demographic want brands to stand for something, guys. And if you're not standing for me as your next consumer, as somebody that you help buy and sell a home, you're doing this wrong. Stand up for me. Be consumer-centric in the way you do things, right? Because the journey is long. Embrace that. I'm going to give you stats, but folks, your marketing campaigns need to be up to 6 months to 2 years before I reach out to you. 2 years. 2 years. Can your marketing scale? How are you going to make me care over the course of time? This is based primarily on affordability, folks. My wife has a 2-year plan in the city of Chicago. Chicago's a lot like here. Chicago's a lot where it's unaffordable, there's no inventory, and the people who bought has already bought. And the folks who can sell, they want to leave the state because it's too expensive to live in Illinois. 2-year plan. She doesn't care whether or not you're ready to go today. What she wants to do is make sure that she earns your trust over the course of 2 years so that when you are ready, you use her. But that up until then, she squeezes every single person out of you that is ready to go today. That's what good marketing does. This is what this does. And one thing that we have to do in our marketing right now is to compel people offline. We win in the real world, folks. Stop trying to compete with the portals. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. They do it better than we do. But I can tell you one thing. I can't smell cat pee online, and that's a blessing for you. The real world is full of things that I have no idea what to know about until you tell me, guys. How many of you guys ever had a client just in the last week have said, this house looks nothing like it did online? I'm staying in an Airbnb right now that looks nothing like it did online. And it smells like old dude. And it's like horrible. There's a pool there, thank God, because we can all bathe in it frequently. But man, it's been a horrible, horrible experience, guys, right? What are you doing to get people offline starting right now? Because we win there. This is what good marketing does. Embrace this. This is your new normal. Do one thing out of all these things in your marketing plans to get people offline. Because it's no longer a thing about demographics. We've been talking about millennials in this industry since like millennials were like young. And you know what happened? Millennials got old and they started having kids. And we still don't understand them. Now we're talking about their kids. And I can tell you what, the millennials, these young folks on the left-hand side, are just like the people on the right-hand side. My parents. Except for, you know what my parents have got? Money and time. The kids on the left, no matter how young you are, they are going to be graduating school with mountains of credit card debt, mountains of student loan debt. They're paying off a mortgage before they're even able to buy a home, folks, which makes their journey really, really long. My parents on the right-hand side are just like that kid on the left. My parents will never use a laptop or desktop computer again, never. They've got an iPad for the plane, they got an iPad for the living room, they got an iPad for the bedroom, right? That just like the kid on the left. But on the right, my parents, they had 3 houses. Reno, Nevada, Honolulu, Hawaii, and Anchorage, Alaska. And you know what they needed? They needed, for 2 years, guys, information on 1031 exchange. Who here knows what 1031 exchange is? Yeah, and if you don't, brush up on it, okay? So they spent 2 years trying to figure out where they're going to live, because they had too many houses that they didn't need, and they needed to downsize because they see the writing on the wall. Anybody been to Honolulu, Hawaii lately? Hawaii is one of the most under-taxed states in the country right now. It's also in the most debt. My parents see the writing on the wall that at some point they're going to get taxed on their big old house in Hawaii. So they realized they needed to sell it pretty soon and to flip it to buy another home in Las Vegas. For almost 2 years, they dreamed about buying a home in Las Vegas until my parents called me and said, how's this 1031 exchange doing? And I told them, you voted for the guy that might destroy it, so you probably should sell your 2 houses soon. And you know what they did inside 3 weeks? Got 2 houses on the market, focused on 1 house in Las Vegas, sold 2 of them, and got into the house in Vegas. You know what marketing is right now? 1031 exchange. And if you don't know what that is, start partnering up right now, right? This is what matters to people like my parents. We need to get baby boomers up and out of their houses right now. Baby boomers right now who are sitting there aging in place because it is too expensive to leave right now. Are you giving baby boomers right now an exit strategy? You know the #1 buyer of Texas homes who are non-Texans? You know who they are? Californians. Are you going out there and going to Texas and giving people a landing spot? You should. Your relationships actually matter now. Yeah, you can plan on that kid on the left, but that kid on the left, his new normal is going to be amazing, folks. He's not going to need to buy a car. His will to own a home isn't going to be like it is for us old folks in the room. But at some point, they're going to buy a home, and his expectations of you are just not even dug up yet. We have no idea what their expectations of you are going to be. But right now, what you have to factor in are this. We have 2 types of clients now, and that's it. We have connected clients and disconnected clients, and that's it, no matter how young or old they are. Because I've met more 80-year-old savvy folks and 20-year-old curmudgeons than ever before. You know why? Because some of these 20-year-old curmudgeons have done stupid things on Facebook to get fired. It's happening. That's why they're not on it either, okay? So plan on what these folks need. Market around what these folks need and where they are starting right now. More than anything, it's going to be hugely important. Because we're in the age of Amazon, folks. This is it. There's been no more disruptive force in this industry than Amazon.com. Who here is an Amazon Prime member? Yeah. Freaky, isn't it? We have no problems giving up our will to a company like Amazon. Keep in mind, folks, when you Google Amazon, we have a generation of kids that are going to Google it, and a website's going to come up, and a river will not. That's scary, right? But why do you use Amazon? Convenient. One-stop shop, right? It's efficient. It's streamlined. I could buy it with 1 click on my phone. I can do it from anywhere, right? There are connected toilets you can buy right now. You know that? That have Amazon built into it. So as you're running out of toilet paper in real time, you can order it through your toilet. It exists, right? Efficiency, streamline, transparency. This is what people want right now. So when they buy a home, it's like, how many of you guys you're having a conversation with a buyer who's like, I had no idea any of these things were important. Like the mortgage guy, the underwriter dude, the appraisal. That's marketing now. These aha moments, folks, are unique to you guys. Real estate is so local, as is the data that's out there right now. Get it out there, start getting it more. Because these companies, these are the disruptors. I worry less about portals and Zillow and God, stop obsessing about these companies. All they've done is destroy newspaper advertising. These guys, we're in a world of $1,000 cell phones, folks. $1,000 cell phones. I have no problems waiting in line for it. You got to think like these companies right now, right? Which client of yours is willing to stand in line for your service? You need to embrace that. Google's the #1 real estate search website in the world. Google is. Other websites just happen to be there when I Google things like Anaheim real estate, Orange County real estate, right? Other folks just happen to be there. When I Google you, I think the biggest problem is that all I see is same. Same. Same picture of you from 1995 on the same website that everyone else has got. This is why nobody reaches out to us. Own your brand at the very least. Own your brand. Zappos is powered by service. So what does service mean to you? Because I can call Zappos right now and somebody will pick up and I can order 25 pairs of shoes. You know the biggest problem right now is that realtors don't pick up their phone. We get these phone calls at NAR, right? These are the fundamentals you have to think about. Amazon, I could buy everything from A to Z. That's what that logo means. You see that? A to Z. Their entrance into real estate is inevitable. In fact, I already know a company already testing something with them. And you're worried about Zillow? Why do you go to Amazon? One-stop shop, convenience, right? You know all these sponsors back here? They're your team now. You all know that? They're your team. How you market them to me, so that when I use you as an agent to buy and sell my home, all these people back there matter. They would rather be out there with your clients rather than being in this room. I guarantee you that. How are you going to market your team? It's not just your buyer's agent anymore. It's not your seller's agent. It's not your assistant. It's all these other things that are out there. These folks, market them better, right? Uber, be more trustworthy than an Uber driver. You'll host an open house this weekend, and half of your information that you'll get from somebody is going to be fake. Yet those same people will have no problems using an app that they plug their credit card into to summon a stranger to come pick them up at their house and take them to the airport. Be more trustworthy than an Uber driver. Your marketing needs to exude it, right? HGTV is the worst damn thing that ever happened in organized real estate, isn't it? Can I get an amen on that? Amen, amen. But you know what HGTV has done really, really well, right? Short, quick bursts of information, right? No one ain't got time to read anymore, right? But the big thing, though, is brand perception, brand reality. They're the same thing. Because do you all know who the Property Brothers are? Yep. Hot guy helps me buy it. The other hot guy helps me knock it down and make it look pretty, right? Right? What do people think realtors do? I just put a sign in the ground and it sells because I see it on social media. I just sold this house in 5 hours. Shut up if you do that. You know what you should be doing is talking about how long it took to prepare a house to sell it in 5 hours. That's marketing now. Stop saying things, I just sold this house in a day. What you're telling me as a consumer is that I don't need you because I could sell my house in a day too. Can you stop that? Please, for all of us, right? Act like these guys starting right now. Market like these guys starting right now. And if you don't know, start talking to your kids because they know everything. This is the first thing you got to do. All those companies have known brand promises. What's yours? Everyone here has got a logo. Your job now is to get me to feel something when I see it. And your marketing needs to exude and ooze everything that I talk about here. Trust. Have a trust proposition. If you don't know what your trust proposition is, go and talk to your A clients, your top 100, top 50, and ask them why they use you. Because I have a choice of 15,000 people that can help me buy and sell a home. I use you for a reason. And if you don't know, you better start asking. When it comes to transparency, how many of you here have been in a multiple offer situation here? Let me see your hands. Yeah. How many of you guys have had a buyer go, cool, 5 other offers, we could still lowball, right? Are we so good with that? Right? You know what marketing is now? You got to tell people what it is that's important. Things like multiple offer situation. I'm going to use that once in my life or 5 times, depending on how many times I lose, right? You know, when I was an agent in the post-internet world in 4 different markets, Glossary of Real Estate Terms was one of the most hit spots on my website. Glossary of Real Estate Terms. Talk like a human being when you're doing it, right? You need to earn the business. You no longer are entitled to it. None. None. Just because you have a sign on the ground doesn't mean you're entitled to any business. It's okay. But if you continually earn it, you're good, right? Get people offline by curating wants and needs and solutions starting right now. How do I buy a home in California? How do I buy a home in this city? I mean, just in my drive over here, I'm going to tell you. I mean, I was up east, just east of Disneyland. How many different neighborhoods did I drive through on my way down here? At least 3 cities, right? Are you talking about that, right? Building trust leads to rapport and value. Doing that over the course of time now is a necessity. You have no choice. You've got to do it. I'm going to give you stats in a second that makes you think about that. The trust proposition right now, the brand proposition, guys, this is the problem right now. We can't even nail professionalism. And if you're a broker, owner, managing people in this room right now, I don't care how high tech this industry gets, what we have done really, really well is show off how stupid we are online. These are all active conversations about active contracts happening in social media right now that consumers can see. Y'all reading that? Where are you, broker owners? Are you training your agents to be professional, to be the offline teeth to your online marketing? This is a problem, folks. The number one most disruptive thing that we have in this industry that we can't cure right now is the complete and utter lack of professionalism in this business. We have to nail this. This is part of our trust and whole idea about our brand proposition right now. What is it? And then you keep going, right? This is marketing now to some folks. I'm not even going to, this is the Urban Dictionary moment of the day here. So for those of you guys who have no idea what AF means, it's sold as F word. This is a sign writer, guys. Marketing, some people will say. See this Thomas Sturgill guy? He took a picture of it and threw it up into a East Nashville Facebook group and said, get some class, realtor. You just sold this house for $1 million. This is the problem. When you go home tonight, figure out what your brand proposition and your trust proposition is starting right now and market from there. You had a choice. Why'd you use me? This is horrible. This is what I see as a consumer every day. And this is the reason why people don't reach out to us sooner than rather than later. People reach out to you when it's too late, folks, and that's the problem. Marketing right now needs to outshine this. This is low-hanging fruit. Start right now. There are plenty, 13,000 here in this city is actually frighteningly easy to stand out. You all realize that? Because there's so many people doing it wrong. There are 13,000 people not in this room right now. And if one of you did something better, you're going to outshine the rest of the folks who aren't here. Do that starting right now, right? Nail it. This is what's happening out there. Please work. And it's not working. Okay. So this is our brand new ad campaign. You're more than homes. You're community advocates. You take commercial spaces and make them awesome. The brand awareness about this campaign has been absolutely amazing, right? Why is it important? Because you have companies like this coming. Now, this is a company called HomeLight. And HomeLight, what they do is talk about the exact same thing. This is what a good realtor does. Good realtors sell homes, but they're involved with their community. They're involved with everything else that's out there when it comes to buying and selling a home, right? It's not just about selling homes. Y'all know who this company is? HomeLight? HomeLight is a company that is partly owned by Google. Going and telling people what a good realtor is. This is why your brand proposition needs to be nailed starting right now. What do you actually do other than sell homes? Because I'm not worried about portals. I'm worried about Google starting to dictate what a good realtor is. And frankly, though, if I look at that, sells homes, doesn't waste time on Facebook, goes out there and starts doing things within the community, that's pretty damn good to me. I'm okay with that. Google wants to know who you are. You better start acting upon it right now, right? How you start doing that in marketing is this. This is how you do it. Educate, 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 right? There are a myriad of ways you can go out there and educate people right now, myriad of them, right? But just pick one. The problem we as realtors do is that we just kind of decide to do everything for about a week, then we give it up because it takes too much, right? So when you go home, you figure out what it is that you're wasting time and money on right now that doesn't matter to me as a consumer, right? Take that all out and stop paying for it. Stop it. Stop it, right? What you need to start doing is start figuring out how to dump your brain why I should use you on the internet. Almost 80% of people start their research online. 90% of them from there go and see the house in the real world, folks, right? So the online world is leading to this offline world for buyers and sellers. Embrace that starting right now. These are the stats that I keep talking about, right? This is from NAR, this is Forrester and Google research stats. Half of all people who started their real estate search started anywhere from 6 months to 12 months ago, right? And half the people who are left started 2 years ago. And this is based on affordability, 6 months to 2 years. So your marketing campaigns really need to scale over the course of time. This is concrete. These are about 4 years old now, but they've stabilized. They stabilize. It should actually, this top one, probably is going to start getting a little older than that now, just because, right? Consumers, buyers who can buy and sellers who can sell and do it easily have already done it. They did it the last 3 years. Everyone else is going to have a lot of issues. Everyone else, right? 2 and 3 research you extensively before reaching out to you. 2 and 3. And that's after they whittle it down from at least a dozen realtors that they know. Why? Because I've been going out and visiting open houses once a month for the last 2 years. So yeah, you know what? Your picture on your card is really important. You all know that? A picture of you from today is hugely important, not 1995. Then give me a reason to go and want to love on your brand after I leave the open house, right? It takes 10.7 points of information for people to make a decision nowadays. To buy a pair of jeans, 10.7. To buy a pair of jeans. And the single largest financial transaction of my life should take more than that. Give me information. Be the Google of real estate for me so I can go to one place and figure everything out. What do you do? What does your team do for me? That's what people want to know about. Local search, 256%. It basically triples every year. Get local. It doesn't need to be a housing type. It doesn't need to be condos. When I was an agent in Minnesota, I realized really quickly I needed to kind of break away from the clicks in the Twin Cities. I started a website called IAin'tFromHereEither.com. And it was all about relocating to the Twin Cities and breaking into weird little cliques in the Midwest. You know who I attracted? 3M, Target, Best Buy relocation. Minnesota Twins, Minnesota Vikings. Pretty damn good, right? So I attracted those guys. What are you attracting in your marketing? Can I afford it? How's the market? Those are the top 2 questions being asked online. Answer it better than the Zestimate. That's low-hanging fruit there too. You know why the Zestimate is a Zestimate? Who has had a conversation about the Zestimate here in the last day? You all have. What do you tell people? Oh, they don't go inside the house. It's inaccurate, right? You have to stop that with the inaccurate things. Because I can tell you personally as a consumer, I went into that 5-bedroom home listed on the MLS and searched for about a half an hour looking for that 5th bedroom, and it's a large closet with the window in it. You got to tell me things like that happen, right? Zestimate, everything online is an ad. You got to tell your clients that. Everything online is an ad, and it's meant to keep you there. They don't care anything about you. Who is the most consumer-centric entity in real estate now? It's you guys. I just don't know it. Market that, right? Google starts getting really, really interesting because Google talked to about 150,000 first-time home buyers last year, and this is the results they came back with. By the time somebody sits down with you, they've done 10 different searches on 10 different websites. That sounds low to me, to be honest, right? They're doing it all through their mobile phones. No one's doing it off a laptop or desktop computer anymore. Half of all people didn't feel as if your websites were customizable enough. That's a huge problem. Why? I go to Amazon, and it customizes everything for me. I go to Zillow, got all these other places, and it customizes everything for me, right? We can't win. Your job, get them offline. Get them offline. Is your marketing getting people offline right now, right? Being memorable is the thing, though, right? Because you need to be more memorable than the puppy playing with his doorstop in order to get people's attention nowadays. Look at this. 8 million views in 15 minutes this thing is going to get, right? The world is literally burning down around us, and you're going to see this puppy playing with a doorstop for 2 minutes, and you're going to be okay with it, right? That's the reality. This is your first lesson in marketing, especially with video. It doesn't matter how long or short your video is. It's all about your message. Because if your message is boring, it doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds or 2 minutes. I'm not going to click through it. But if it holds my attention like this, or an Asian baby on the left-hand side, anybody needs an Asian baby, let me know. I got one for you. He's super cheap, right? If I can watch it over and over again and get really good, awesome feelings, that's good marketing, folks. That's good marketing. You need to start spending at least some time on your marketing or a hell of a lot of money. One of the two. There is no half-assing this, guys. One of the two starting right now. Right? What do these companies do? They do a really good job of this, right? This company being very transparent about things like, hey, I'm too busy to take on new clients at this time, right? They talk about the commission. They talk about multiple offer situations. They talk about this stuff. Why? Because their clients 6 months to 2 years, right? They do things like use MLS data better than us. There's a 70% chance that this home sells in the next 10 days. Go tour it soon. This is the reality, folks. What are you doing better than this? This is a brokerage, guys. The brokerage being 100% consumer-centric in the way they operate. They do things like reviews of your listings. Did you all know that? You know the thing that sucks about this is that, right, at the end of the day, this listing, this review sticks with my house. What are you going to do to help me get rid of it? Because I fixed all this. Do you know the people that can get it done? You do, right? This is what marketing looks like now. What does it look like for a team? This is TacomaJones.com. Like, this right should tell you everything you need to know about marketing in general. Do you see a realtor with a phone or a puppy saying, "I'm awesome" here? This is what marketing looks like. It's talking about the community, right? Ann spends a lot of time. I know Jeremy, you know Ann Jones. Her marketing is absolutely amazing because all she wants to do is be an advocate for Tacoma and everything about Tacoma, right? Are you being an advocate in your marketing for your town, right? She talks about herself only when people want to, and she takes the really good reviews and sticks them on her website. That's what she does. She copies and pastes it. I mean, simple things. But leads with the why. Why do I want to buy in Tacoma? And tells that story really, really well. For her marketing in general, right, you're looking at these at video, almost 80% of video, guys, is viewed on mute. Did y'all know that? 80%. Why? I shouldn't be watching it. So that's the reason why. So like your videos of you talking, there's a reason why you're seeing captions underneath that. You all notice that on your social medias of the world? You're seeing the captions of videos underneath? Because no one is hearing them. I should be able to embrace your marketing just in the visuals there. Connect it to things like points of interest. That's marketing now. That's marketing. Do you need to do this? No, because Ann spends a lot of money on this stuff. You know what my wife does? Right? Spends a lot of time. She spends a lot of time on it. So here's what my wife does, right? She's got a $5 website, and all she has done is dump her brain online. All she does. All she does is dump her brain on how to buy and sell a home in the city of Chicago online. That's it. And she takes all of her team, her buyer's agents, her seller's agents, all of her folks that are sitting around the perimeter of this room, and she markets the hell out of them, right? They get the objections out of the way. They get the objections out of the way. In Chicago, it takes a lawyer to close a home. So people want to know why it is I'm paying a lawyer $500 and I'm paying you X%. They want to know why. Transparency is key for things like this. This is just a written word. You know what's cool about this is that when you go to Chicago and you Google, how do I buy a home in Chicago, guess whose website comes up first? My wife's. You know when you Google my wife's lawyer, you know whose website comes up first? Hers. Her inspector, her website comes up first. It's pretty amazing, right? Just dump your brain online. You need to spend a lot of money, but get out there and start being more transparent about what's inside your head so that I don't need to call you 20 times a day. Just go to my website. That's what my wife says. You know, Jeremy, people like Jeremy have met my wife. She's a very nice lady if you meet her, but what she wants to do is just step on necks all day. Seriously, because she wants to be efficient. Everything's about efficiency. And what she hates is sitting in a room like this and getting 55 phone calls about the exact same thing 55 times. Go to my website. Go to my website. Go to my website. If you have any questions after that, you're good. We've been here in Disneyland, and it's been okay. No phone calls. Everyone's gone to the website. It's been good. What are you doing to be efficient? Are you reducing friction for me as a consumer through your marketing? This is what marketing looks like now, right? Those aha moments, things like wire fraud. You got to tell me not to trust my tech as a consumer, guys. You have to. You've got no choice. You guys wire money here for closings? Yeah. Have you told me that wire fraud is happening on a daily basis? And if you get a weird wiring instruction, call me first. You got to tell people that, right? Tell people early. Peak real estate search times, guys, November, December, January. Y'all know that? November, December, January. Why? I'm surrounded by family who I just told I'm going to buy and sell a home, and they give me unsolicited advice. Your marketing needs to peak during the holiday season so you can coast into the selling season. That's the number one thing. I'm not saying Christmas cards are a bad thing, but they all end up in the trash, right? They all end up in the trash. Peak your real estate search, your marketing, heading into the holiday season, you're good. What do you lead with? After the transaction, man, things get really, really cool, right? Ask for a better review. Reviews are now marketing, folks. You had a choice. Why did you use me? Get a better review. It doesn't matter where they go. The problem is the reviews that I read are just kind of horrible. Shay was great. Picked up the phone whenever I called. That's no longer a thing. I don't need you for that, right? Read that review. That's a fantastic review. We wanted to do it ourselves, but very quickly realized that we can't. Nothing speaks better than your previous clients, right? Right? People like Dave Oswald. You know what Dave does? Scholarship program. $1,500. In-state and out-state girl and boy. He spends $6,000 a year on marketing. He has an ugly website, but where I go to his website to go and sign up for a scholarship. Because $1,500, you know what that gets me in school? One book. One. Right? So what he does is he uses his 8 clients, gets them into a room, buys them lunch, folks, right? And they get to pick who wins because 3,000 to 4,000 people sign up every year. And he gives it away. Look at these kids. You think they care that he's an old guy? No. But you know what he's got? He's got them when they come home because kids in Minnesota come home. But he's got their friends and their family and their parents and their aunts and their uncles all first. That's what scalable business looks like, right? It doesn't need to be pretty, it just needs to be useful, right? With my wife, right, all she does is she says thank you really well. That's it, right? One tail at a time helps her with her social media marketing. She goes out there and thanks the folks that help, that she's helped. Basically, if you buy a house with my wife, you save a puppy, and you get to name the puppy. Post-transaction, it's amazing, right? It's amazing what you can do with things like that. Instead of Christmas time, she doubles down on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is an amazing time, right? People don't really think about it, too. So she celebrates that whole weekend into the weekend, right? 8 clients from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday get their hair blow drying. Because I know you guys have them here. You pay $40 to have somebody blow dry your hair? You all know these places? My wife's 8 clients, young families. Mom and dad forget about Valentine's Day, so she goes and makes sure that Valentine's Day is a thing for them, right? They get their hair done, they look great, and then during that weekend, they get these emails saying, hey, you know what? We know life is hectic. I'll save your Valentine's Day for you. If you need anything, if you need any of these reservations, call me. She calls January 2nd every year, all the local hotspots in Chicago, and books dinners for 2 all through the weekend. And all these people have to do is call her and say, I want to go to Cattle Company at 9 p.m. on Friday. Give me that reservation. It switches it to her name. Being memorable, guys, in your marketing is huge, because this is marketing now. People wait for that email. And this is how well she does her CRM, by the way. Your CRM is huge. Husbands get the first email. You want to say Valentine's Day? Let me know if you want any of these reservations. And if she doesn't get a reply from you, she calls your wife. You know, your husband never replied to me on this email. Let me know if you want to say Valentine's Day. It's being memorable, folks, that matters right now when it comes to a lot of marketing, right? Taking things and I can tell you right now, the thing that I'm seeing more often than not now are offline events for a clientele. That's what I'm seeing more often than not, right? So make them Facebookable, make them tweetable, hire a professional photographer to come in and take pictures of events while you're having them and have these people posted on their Facebook so you don't have to. This is what marketing looks like now, folks. This is just a thank you. How are you saying thank you after the transaction in your marketing? Nail this stuff, right? Where are your ambassadors? Because as social media becomes more and more like a dumpster fire, you're seeing people retract back into these groups. This is Mama Tribe in Chicago, 20,000 young families in the city of Chicago. You know what? You guys have them here. That's how we got half of our junk in our Airbnb. We're borrowing it from families throughout this Anaheim area. You know that? That's where everyone is going back into groups. So what my wife does is activates her ambassadors. Who are your ambassadors, guys? Who are your ambassadors? A, B, and C clients are out there. You know, instead of saying how awesome you are when somebody is asking for real estate, get your Jessica and Tiffany and Lauren and Shelly to go out there and be your ambassadors for you. That's what marketing looks like, right? This is what marketing is, folks. What are you doing right now to be awesome, right? And then she goes in and then she kills it at the end of the day, right? Thank you for the love. Here we go, right? Marketing, guys, looks like this. People-focused real estate. This is Burlingame Properties. up in Northern California, right? 8 clients become part of Raziel's marketing, right? They talk about who they are and what they loved about the transaction. They talk about things like what surprised you most about buying and selling a home. One of his 8 clients came to him and translated his website into Chinese for free for him. What are you doing to your 8 clients right now to help you with your marketing, folks? This is what the future looks like, folks. Basically, folks, this is what you guys do. Y'all realize that? This is what you do. You make people feel like this after the transaction. Your goal now in really good marketing is to get people to feel like this before they've used you. Do one thing, guys, in your marketing, print, online, someplace, that matters to me, that I don't even know why I want to use you, right? But if you make me feel like this, you're golden. These are the things that matter, right? Marketing that's emotive, human, that goes and lasts for a long period of time over the course of 6 months to 2 years now is huge. Plan on that. As the market stabilizes, this is going to be important, right? We're going to be okay if we figure this out, right? I went over time by 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions on anything? It was fire hose style, but give them to me right now. Go.
What's your wife's name?
My wife's name is Shay, S-H-A-Y. Last name's Hata, H-A-T-A. Her website's buyselllovechicago.com. That's your first piece of marketing, by the way, right? If you can't do that in California, stop it with like IamAwesome.com. Stop that, right? You can use your name and whatnot, but list with things like your URL needs to be saleable, right? So buyselllovechicago.com. Think about it, what URL like that can do for you. Anything else? Question?
I have a few questions for you in here.
Go.
Okay, so we have the text link up there for anybody that wants to text a question. First one we got, can you go deeper into Facebookable, tweetable, and Snapchatable?
Okay, so what does Facebookable, tweetable, and Snapchatable mean? How many of you guys, okay, here's the first thing you do. When you're at the orientation with your client, the first thing you do is you tell them to shut up. Because seriously, how many of you guys audit your clients and you Google them before you said it? You should, because you can see everything they're saying on the Facebooks and the Twitters of the world, right? And what you need to tell them first and foremost is, I protect you from you. You need to stop talking about the transaction until we close. What's awesome about that is during all that time, you do things during the client and realtor experience that make me just want to rave about you. And what happens is that after the fact, you just let them go, right? If you let them go and you have them talk about how awesome you were on Facebook, how awesome you were on their Twitter, how awesome you were on their Snapchat, you've done a lot of work. Your goal is to get people to want to rave about you on other people's social media. Stop trying to pay for ads. It's unscalable. You can't do it. And frankly, we're doing it wrong. And most people are shutting down realtor ads. Y'all know that online? They're shutting them down because it's all houses. I don't need you for houses, right? But if you talk about that experience and make me want to rave about you on my Facebook to my sphere, you've done that, right? And you've all had those experiences with clients before. You got to nail it with those guys. It's the reason why, if you go back to what my wife does with her ambassadors, all those people state why it is that they used her in great detail. That's what being Facebookable is all about.
Okay, next question. How do you feel about mailing to a farm?
I don't care what you do when you mail. You got to do things that I didn't know were important, right? So if you're going to do something like, I sold a house in 5 hours, tell the story of how you sold it, right? How many views of yours were on MLS? How many showings did you have? A friend of mine in Portland does this really well. How many showings did you guys have? How many final showings did you have, right? These are all things that you should talk about if you do it just listed. Frankly, I don't care what you do, just do it consistently. The people who do mailings, I'm gonna mail 1,000 people once. No, you should mail 100 people 10 times. What you should do, right? So be extremely tactical about what you do. The best thing to do, if you, no matter what, is to tell the story in print or whatever you do offline and drive people back online to something that makes me want to pay attention to you. So that I'm you're one of my stops whenever I'm going anywhere else I'm seeing real estate online, right? Right now, there's not enough of that.
Are there any other questions out here that maybe you could just shout out something that's on the top of your mind? No more questions on here.
Yep.
In the back, way in the back, loud please.
BuySellLoveChicago.com. BuySellLoveChicago.com.
Green shirt.
You talked about your wife with a puppy. Can you explain how she does that?
Oh, she doesn't. No, what I said is she doesn't do that. Yeah, I can't even stress enough that I've seen so many pictures of people with their cell phones. So what she does is you sell a house through my buy or sell a house through my wife. $100 goes towards One Tail at a Time, right? One Tail at a Time is a dog rescue charity in the city of Chicago. It's either One Tail at a Time or your charity of choice. Okay. So what's cool about that is that almost all of my wife's clients are philanthropic in some way. So it's not only One Tail at a Time. It's Susan G. Komen for the Cure. It's the Lurie Children's Center for the children's pediatric issues, right? So it's all those little issues like that. Now she's involved with other people's philanthropic efforts, right? And what's cool about it is it's after the transaction experiences that not enough people do. We don't do enough after the transaction.